My friend, the Philadelphia Eagles just did something that, at first glance, looks like an enormous vote of confidence, but that, when you look closely, hides exactly the opposite. The franchise opened the vault and turned one of their players into the highest-paid athlete in history at his entire position. A big money contract, one of those numbers that make any fan fall over backward. But, hidden in the middle of all those pages and pages of million-dollar figures, there's a clause so strange, so out of the ordinary, that practically nobody had seen anything like it in other veteran contracts. And that clause reveals an embarrassing secret. It shows that, even after paying a fortune, the Eagles still don't fully trust that this player is going to take care of his own body. They literally put a cash prize in writing to try to guarantee something that should be obvious for a professional at that level. And that's where the story gets really spicy. The truth is that this odd clause reveals far more about the relationship between the club and its star than any press conference ever would. And it's about that behind-the-scenes side that we need to talk today. If you're a die-hard Eagles fan, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because understanding this contract move is understanding the biggest question mark that exists over one of the most talented players on the entire roster. This isn't idle gossip. It's an official detail, written and signed. Let me show you exactly what clause this is, and why it says so much between the lines. Let's get to the facts. This offseason, Philadelphia handed this player a monstrous contract extension, 4 years and $152 million, the largest deal ever given to a defensive tackle in the entire history of the NFL, a figure that officially crowns this man as the owner of the position. But the most curious thing is what the Eagles demanded in return for all that money. They planted in the contract a condition rarely seen in the world of football, a kind of silent message, a requirement that makes clear what the franchise's biggest concern is about him. And when you understand what that concern is, everything about his career up to now starts to make sense. This player's name is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, now the highest-paid defensive tackle in history, got from the Eagles a clause that is unusual to say the least. According to the renowned journalist Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, the team included in the contract a bonus that pays Carter $250,000 extra per year, which adds up to a total of $1 million over the course of the deal, with a single condition. He needs to keep his weight within a specific limit. That's right, exactly what you heard. A weight bonus. Florio, who has dissected countless veteran contracts over the years, made a point of highlighting how rare this is, stating that very few deals include anything like it. And the most revealing detail is the contrast with what the general manager himself said. After signing the huge contract, Howie Roseman said publicly that he had no concerns about Carter off the field. But the contract's own details contradict all that calm. If there really were no concern at all, why would the franchise go to the trouble of negotiating such a specific incentive to keep the player's weight under control? The answer is simple. Because that concern exists, and it exists in spades. The issues with Carter's weight are nothing new. They date back to his college days, at the University of Georgia, where he showed up weighing 314 pounds at the physical evaluation for the 2023 draft, and, less than a month later, appeared no less than 9 pounds heavier on his own university's testing day. In other words, the pattern is old, and the Eagles know that pattern very well. And here comes the part that really explains why this clause exists. It's almost unbelievable, but Carter earned all this money on the strength of a single great season in 3 years in the league, accompanied by 2 merely average campaigns. Let's take it step by step. In his debut year, in 2023, to put it mildly, it was a difficult learning period for both sides. Carter arrived out of shape, and doubts about his dedication followed him the entire season, precisely while the Eagles fell apart down the stretch. Then in 2024, it was the opposite. He showed up in full physical shape and dominated from the first game to the last, being an absolutely fundamental piece in the run that ended with the victory over the Kansas City Chiefs by 40-22 in the Super Bowl. It was his best version, the version that justifies every penny. But then, in 2025, the pendulum swung back to the bad side. Carter showed up out of shape again, looking sloppy both in appearance and in performance. And, to make it worse, he started the season in the worst way possible. He was ejected in the very first game, before the ball was even put into play, after spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. That cost him a heavy fine of about $57,000 and set the tone for a year in which the Eagles looked disconnected on both sides of the ball, ending their run with a home loss to a San Francisco full of injuries in the wild card round. Do you see the picture? One brilliant in-shape season, surrounded by two out-of-shape seasons. The weight clause is, deep down, the Eagles trying to buy back the 2024 version, that Carter in full shape who ran over everything in front of him. They're not paying only for the talent, they're paying for the discipline that makes that talent show up every Sunday. But for you to understand how much the Eagles value this player despite all these stumbles, you need to know something impressive. Over the last 2 years, the franchise turned down breathtaking trade offers so as not to give up Carter. In 2025, according to what was reported, the Eagles had in hand a package that would have brought the fearsome edge rusher Micah Parsons of the Cowboys to Philadelphia in exchange for Carter. And look how curious, Parsons himself reportedly stalled the negotiation because, according to him, playing alongside Carter was precisely the only reason he wanted to come to the Eagles. Then in 2026, again according to what was reported, the franchise had a package that would have brought the monstrous Myles Garrett, twice voted the best defender in the entire league, to the team. But, once again, the Eagles refused to put Carter in the negotiation, and the deal simply collapsed. Think about the size of that. The franchise said no to two of the most terrifying defenders in the NFL to hold on to this player. In other words, for the Eagles, Carter's talent is so rare, so special, that it's worth more than practically any other name on the market. And that's exactly why they created this clause, not to punish, but to protect the investment and try to extract the best possible version of a talent they refuse to lose. Now, to be fair and transparent, we need to present the other side of this story, because not everything here is cause for alarm. First, in the context of a $152 million contract, this $1 million bonus is a tiny slice, almost symbolic, so you can't treat it as if it were a financial humiliation. It's more of a little nudge than a threat. Second, an incentive clause for weight can be seen in a positive way, as a smart motivational tool, and not as an insult. Many would see it as a healthy partnership, in which the team helps the player give his best. Third, in the spitting episode, it's fair to remember that there was provocation. The footage showed that Dak Prescott himself spat on the ground in Carter's direction first, and even smiled, which helps to contextualize, even without justifying, the impulsive reaction. And fourth, despite everything, we're talking about a player who is only 24 years old, already a Super Bowl champion and recognized among the best in the league. The ups and downs are part of maturing, and there's plenty of room for him to turn raw talent into real consistency. In other words, the clause is a warning sign, but it can also be the push he was missing to finally blossom for good. So now I turn it over to you, the one who truly understands this team. Looking at this weight clause, do you think the Eagles were smart to protect themselves with this incentive? Or that putting it on paper was a somewhat disrespectful message to a newly minted millionaire star? Do you trust that Jalen Carter is finally going to show up in shape and deliver that overwhelming 2024 version for several years in a row? Or does the history of ups and downs still leave you with one foot back? And tell me one thing, if you were Howie Roseman, would you have turned down Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett to keep Carter? Or would you have gone for one of those trades? Drop your opinion down here in the comments, because I read every single one of them. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow closely every behind-the-scenes detail of the Eagles heading into the season. And I'll be back later to update you with the latest news out of Philadelphia.